Hi, good morning. So just under 15 minutes, I think. Just thought we'd discuss the mid-season transfer break or the transfer window. Already a number of signings have been made in the Zambian Super League, but then from my observation in the past and even at present, there are some rumors that are being talked about and certain transfers that are being talked about, and then you begin to think, well, how is this going to work out? And so I just thought we look at maybe how we can get that right. I must say that I've been involved in a number of transfers before, done transfers for a club as well as having consulted on a number of transfers, both in the Super League and I think for two clubs outside the country as well. And so I think I have, a fairly good understanding of what goes on in the background, for a transfer to be done, and what clubs would consider, and things of that sort. In the Zambian setup, it's important, I think, that we firstly understand who gets involved when a transfer is being done, or when a transfer is being worked on. Usually, you have a combination of the board or the exco having their input. You have someone that is head of the technical team. Sometimes could be a technical advisor or technical director, depending on the club. Obviously, the coaches need to put an input. At present, there is also the impact of agents which cannot be ignored. And at times, the players themselves. We've seen times when it happens worldwide. Sometimes a player can recommend a fellow player. Sometimes it can be a player floating himself. It happens. It just depends on the league itself. And look, our Zambian league is not yet really as professional as it should be. So at times it's run under semi-pro lines, and so because of that, you find that there are a lot of people that are involved in this. And to some extent, at some clubs, even fans actually have a say on the kind of transfers that the club is going to make or complete. And so against that background, I thought it's just important to look at how well what a team should be doing to get it right in the mid-season transfer window. And so the first things usually that a team should be considering is a player or a signing that will make an immediate impact as well as a future impact. On this one, you really see the value of scouting, or the need for scouting. There are many times that we've seen a player that is signed and he ends up being a misfit at a particular club. This is a guy that has come with a very good reputation, but he ends up being a misfit. Not really because he's a bad player, but maybe because the scouting was not done right, maybe because he cannot fit in the team style. And so one of the first things that you look at if you're going to have an immediate impact, or a player that is going to have an immediate impact and future impact, is the style of play that the team wants to play. And this is where the value of scouting comes in, like I said earlier on. One of the other things that you would also have to be looking at as you look at the one that would bring immediate and future impact is where the team needs change, where the team needs to reinforce. What direction is the team trying to take at that particular time, especially in the January window. The January window is very crucial because clubs don't really have much time in which to move. Remember, it's just about 30 days. And at the same time, players are contracted elsewhere. The league is on. There are a lot of things that are happening at once. So you really have to rely on the quality of scouting report here if you're going to get it right. And it's also about the impact that one is going to have, not just on the pitch, in the dressing room and off it as well. Here you can even look at the marketing side of the game. Is it the commercial side of the game? What benefits are you going to reap from such a transfer, and things of that sort. So it's important that you look at one that's going to have immediate and future impact. If you're going to look at players that had an immediate impact at the club after being signed in January, I think I'll use an example that we may all relate to, really. Yes, we watch the Zambian Super League, but we're also keen followers of the English Premier League. Virgil van Dijk was signed by Liverpool in the January window. Philippe Coutinho was signed by Liverpool in the January transfer window. And we know the impact that all those players had on the team. Talk about Van Dijk, he signed the following season. Liverpool were winning the league, they were winning the Champions League, things of that sort. So it's about that immediate impact and also the long-term impact. But to get that right, then the scouting has to be right. Just look at how long Liverpool pursued Virgil van Dijk, for example. It shows you that they had done their scouting, they had done all their homework, and they had really identified who their man was. The second thing I think that you'd be looking at is one that would help you to meet the set targets. Because in January transfer window, like it stands now, the league has been played halfway or just there about. So clubs have already identified realistically where they can end up or where they can finish up. You have clubs that are trying to avoid the drop. For example, if they are conceding a lot of goals, maybe they would want to look at a different goalkeeper. Maybe they would want to look at a different set of defenders. Is it a base midfielder? It could be a club that's not scoring enough goals but are creating. They would be looking maybe at a finisher. Look at what Kasanshi Dynamos have done. They've scored most of their goals from set pieces, so probably they've identified that they need someone that can score them the goals. Maybe that's where a player like Jesse Jackson comes in, or Baba Basile. So it's things like that. If you're trying to avoid the drop, you go for someone that is going to shut the back door. If you're trying to, in the Zambia setup, for example, you're trying to qualify for CAF and you are lying 8th, I think you would have identified what your problems are. So basically, go for the player that is going to sort out those problems. You don't just sign players, blanket signing, okay, because it's known that he's a good player or because someone has offered him to us at a good price or things of that sort. You have to be very, very specific. In football, there's a concept of specificity. Usually it's in line with training. The training must be specific towards a certain quality that you're trying to develop or toward a certain trait that you want to see in your team. Similarly, when you're making signings, you have to be very specific. It's about a particular target that you want to go for. For example, if you're trying to win a championship, you should be looking at players that are going to help you to win a championship. And sometimes these are players that have got the right mental attitude, players that have done it before. Some may not have done it before, but if they have the right qualities to be able to make you win a championship, then you have to go for them, because problems have been identified, the missing links have been identified, areas of improvement have been identified, and so you go specifically for a particular type of player and or a particular set of players to be able to help you get what you're trying to get at the end of the season. On the other side, wisdom in the January transfer window means that you have to go for local solutions. I call these local solutions because there are times when you don't actually have to deep into the market per se. Sometimes you have what you need just in your home. This can be in the form of academy. Sometimes you can go into your academy and get players there. Look, it's not just about the big name players or what certain players have done elsewhere. It's about, like I said earlier, you identify what you need. Then you have to look. You have to look deep in what you have, and that's why I keep emphasizing that clubs must invest in their academies a lot, because it will save you a lot of money actually if you're going to go to find a local solution. One of the best examples I give of local solutions in the recent past has been Fred Mulambia at Power Dynamos. Look at the impact that he's had on the team. They got him from their academy. They didn't have to spend much. It's a homegrown talent. There's Oliver Lumbia emerging now at Nkana. That's a very good local solution that you can refer to or that you can look at as well. In the next 2 to 3 seasons, I don't think Power Dynamos will have to look elsewhere for a right back. There's a young man there. He's Taonga Mkandawira. I remember working with him during the under 15, under 16 national team preparations for the team that went to Croatia. He's a fantastic right back. He's still in their junior teams, and even at that time, I remember Coach Mitchell was actually suggesting to Perry to actually give this boy a chance to train with the seniors, because the boy is that good. So that's just an example of a local solution that the club would want to look at. Sometimes a local solution could just be in the approach. It could just be about coaches being honest with themselves and deciding, for example, to change the system, to change a few things, to change their methods. Sometimes to bring in someone different just to give a different voice and maybe a different direction. And for those clubs that have promoted a lot of youngsters, for example, from their youth academy over a space of maybe 2 to 3 years, sometimes it's about going back to the youth academy and bringing up the coach that brought these youngsters, because maybe he knows how to relate with them. They can easily connect with him. Bring him up, let him be part of the technical bench. It's also a local solution. Sometimes you are not doing well, not because you need players, maybe you just need a different voice. It's just coaches that need to change their approach, and you can use such a window, because remember, there hasn't been football for 2 to 3 weeks, so that gives you a chance to work on some of those things as a club. So sometimes it's just about going for the local solution. Go to your academy, change your approach, change your methods, and you get it right. And we've seen these things work in Zambia. Fred Mulambia, like I've said, from the academy. So some of these things work. The other thing, wisdom in the the January window. Sometimes it's about looking at how you can structure your deals. You need to engage in what I call is sensible spending. It's not all the time that you have to pull out the big checks. Look, there are a lot of options on the market. Sometimes you can go for a loan deal. We know of certain loan deals that have been very successful in Zambia. You can look at the time that Festus Mbeo was at Nkana, Shadrach Malambo at Nkana, and now later he went to Forest. Chanda Mpuka was signed by Zesco United on a loan deal, and it's had a good impact on the team. Sometimes you have to go for a permanent transfer. But doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend much. So you can go for a loan, you can go for a permanent transfer. Sometimes you can go for a deal that allows you to share costs. You just have an understanding between two clubs. For example, a player's salary is going to be split between clubs because he's not getting game time this side, but you still need him to improve, and the other team seems they have a plan for him. Let him go. You can share the costs, and so that the impact is it's a win-win situation. It's a win-win situation on both ends. You are paying part of his salary, the others are paying part of the salary. They are helping him improve, and it's having an impact in their team. It's sometimes about structuring deals like that. And then sometimes you actually have to go into the market for free agents. There are a lot of good free agents, as long as you scout the market quite well. And I mean, we don't even have to go very far. Power Dynamos have signed Brian Miller on a free. It's a free agent. That's quality. It's proven quality. It's just, had it not been for injuries, I think he would have been a much better player by now with better records. But then, even in his current form, he's still good enough. Kansas Dynamo was just signed Jesse Were as a free agent. So sometimes you have to wait sometimes and use your network to actually know what's going on in the market, and to get good results like that. Jesse Were on a free, Brian Miller on a free. We haven't seen the impact of their teams yet, but I think those are very good signings. So sometimes you just need to to know how you can structure some of these deals. Sometimes when you're looking at deal structures, sometimes you just have to sign young players when they are young. Just go into the outskirts there. There are kids that are talented. Yes, they still have to be developed further, but you sign them when they are still young. They will cost you almost nothing. Then you come and develop them, and at the end of the day, you find you would have made a lot of jewels for yourselves, and they would fetch actually good money if you are going to put them on the market. Ultimately, it's about getting an improvement in the team. It could be immediate, could be long term, but it's about getting improvement in the team. But one thing that clubs have to always remember is that there are no quick fixes in football, and even if you get what appears to be a quick fix, it's not really sustainable. Football is about sustaining something. Winning championships is about sustaining something. Becoming successful is about getting something in a sustainable way. So it's about improving the team. There are no quick fixes. Even when you get what appears like a quick fix, it may not last for a long while. And football doesn't work that way. It's about getting structural transfer that is going to get the results that you desire. It's about a transfer that is going to give you the strong structures that you'd be looking for, that you're going to rely on for a long period of time. It's about maximizing what you have as a club if you're going to get transfers right. So the window is a good opportunity for clubs to improve their teams, but it needs a lot of wisdom. Otherwise, you have a lot of clubs that end up regretting because they signed players that cost them a lot of money, and now they can't have any impact, so they have to terminate their contracts, and then they have now to start matters of conversations and things of that sort. So for this time, I think that's really what I just wanted to share. But if you get some of these things right, really, as a club, you are going to see clubs that will benefit from such a window, and over the long term have a lot of success for themselves. So that's about getting the basics right, and then you are good to go. So like I said, just under 15 minutes, I thought I would just share some of those things. Let me know what you think. How clubs can be more wise in the January window and what they should be looking out for. Thank you so much, and have a good day.